I've been good. It's been a long time since we talked last.
Yeah. Feels like many, many nights.
You love me.
Last time all we heard was fuck, fuck, fuck.
He's doing something wrong. He was like, what am I doing wrong? I don't fucking know. You live in the next state.
I think I've only called one person a cunt so far, so we're going well.
Oh, right on. Hey, let's see if we can make it too.
Halloween is a special time of year for many goreheads. So I sat down with a few from the Terror Firma Artists Union to find out just what Halloween means to them. Roll credits.
Abandon all hope, all that enter Terra Firma.
I'm Ashley, and Drew has held me captive until I decided to be on the show. It's pretty fucked up because I'm an American stuck in Ireland or Scotland. And I'm the host of Who's This?
I'm Blaine, and are you going to shut up?
I'm done.
Good. Okay. So, I'm Blaine, and I'm the host of Appalachian Pie. We're getting the opportunity to have my occasional co-host, Miss Q, on here as well. And I want to, first of all, thank Drew for everything that he's done with not only having us on Terra Firma, but the whole thing with the artists union and all. And I'd like to touch on that at the tail end, if you don't mind, later on. But as part of Appalachian Pie, both got kind of fed up with the way that our home was portrayed just as a media stereotype and all this. And after a couple of iterations of it, I ended up kind of rebranding it, trying to make it more of a positive spin on Appalachian culture versus those stereotypes. And when I reached out to Q, if I recall correctly, you were extremely hesitant about it, but you liked the idea. And then as soon as you got on, there was no way I wasn't going to bring you on to other shows. Am I wrong?
Thank you. I was a little hesitant. Yeah, I don't like the way I sound over the airwaves so much.
So how would you
reasons, I guess.
So how would you finish off my thought process there? Because once it started to kind of round out the whole thing, it seemed like it got a little bit of traction, and yeah, that's pretty much been.
It's kind of exploded, really. On your end, I mean, I have not done much. I've been on, 4 shows or something, I think.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of lazy, but...
if this is the first time you're seeing me on with Drew or on Terra Firma, then you got some watching to do, because I've been on here a few times. I'm Sandwich from the Ranting and Raving podcast. We don't generally do just horror kind of stuff, but it is one of the areas I do like. We generally just talk about anything, movies, music, and sports, and we try to make jokes and yell about a lot of things. So if you like me, or you think you might be interested in the show, we're wherever you can find podcasts, anywhere audio-wise, iTunes, Patreon. On all the social medias, we're Ranting Podcast, rantingpodcast.com. That's pretty much it. If you like me, I think you'll like the show, because I'm the same person. I have no characters.
I am CJ Ripka. I am the owner of Ripka Media Group, the host of Raw and Real, and also the host of one of the hosts of Grit and Grace TV. I have to say one of the hosts because the other one is actually way better at it than I am, and she always seems to remember that it's 2 of us, not just one of us. So if you want to get us online, all you got to do is go to ripkamedia.com, or you can find us at gritandgracetv.com.
You might say I like Halloween.
A little bit, yeah. It looks like it.
A little bit. Just a touch. I'm Samson Lancaster, and I have a show about video games called Strengthcast. You can find us at strengthandgaming.com, or just Google Strength and Gaming. I've assembled a team of trolls and assholes and people that are funnier and more annoying than I am, and we talk about video games and get fucking wasted.
So basically what you would do if you didn't have a show.
Yes, exactly. That's yeah. I think that's kind of how yours works too, right?
Pretty much. If I didn't have a mic on, I would just be sitting in the dark talking to myself.
Yeah, I do that too.
You said it was like mature content, so I just decided to get real weird with it. That was just like no way.
Fuck. This show has had fucking Dave the Clone and Chris Ripka on like 10 times each. This show gets fucked up.
Oh, I can imagine. Ugh, that sounds vulgar. It just sounds like a vulgar show.
Yeah, it can be. So, what does Halloween mean to you?
Halloween is like the best day ever because you get free candy. And then, like, you get to watch scary movies when you're little. You never get to do that shit. And then you get to go out with your friends and trick or treat, and you get to steal candy bowls. And, like, it's just, like, the best thing ever, man.
Yeah. For me, as a kid, we didn't do the whole trick-or-treating thing, because I'm in Scotland. If you go up and bang on someone's door, you'll probably get shot or stabbed or some shit back in the day. My next door neighbour, like if you were playing football and your ball went in his garden, he used to stick a knife in it, so you couldn't exactly go trick-or-treating to him. Yeah. Right in front of you.
What part of Scotland is this? This is not the part they show on National Geographic, man.
No. He's very far away from the shortbread and kilts side of Scotland. I grew up in the kind of side of Scotland where everyone's taking meth and kicking the shit out of their family members.
America.
Yeah. Well, this is where hillbillies come from originally, so that kind of sums
That's
it
true.
up.
You guys are just a bunch of meth heads in Scotland. That's good to know.
Yeah. Got to do something to keep you warm at night.
I'll let Q
It's going to
take
be
that
different
one.
for me than it will. Well, I mean, as a kid, I would imagine we had very similar experiences. You dressed up, you did knocking door to door, trick or treat, and da 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 da. Yeah, I mean, and you heard about that razors and bulls and I crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, that was my big thing as a kid. I can remember a costume in particular that was hilarious. It was a big inflatable, like alien head that you put on your head, and then you painted your face. And I was an alien when Halloween. It was the best costume ever. So
you know,
great.
you're really leaving a big joke out there.
I looked like a walking plastic dick.
Or yourself
you can't
today.
say that, but you can't say that about a very young child without being extraordinarily fucked up, fellas. So let's just not go there.
Well, moving on to my version of what I grew up with. Yeah, of course, we had the commercialized thing that everybody did, and you had the little parties with the apple bobbing, this, that, and the other. But I guess as I got older... Oh, yeah, of course. And you always had to watch Halloween, because I guess it came out right about the time...
I have to interrupt. I was not allowed to watch horror movies because I was raised a Southern Baptist, and you were not allowed to dress as a scary character to go to the church Halloween party that I was obligated to go to. I had to be an alien. I had to be a walking child dildo, okay? And I had to be, you could be something benign like a ghost. Okay, but you probably had to call it a spirit. I'm serious. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies. No blood, no guts, no gore. It was really frowned upon. Oh, do you guys have the this is the night of Satan and the devil worshiping and all of the urban legends?
I have absolutely no clue what the hell you're talking about.
Are you kidding? You didn't have that?
No.
Yes. Oh, kids would go around and paint pentagrams on things. There would be rumors about caves where they were sacrificing animals. worshiping Satan, they were worshiping the devil. And this is all told through the church community, but in school and stuff too. And it was just meaning. And it was all a bunch of horse shit, right? But it was a lot of fun. And I, grew up in a town that started what was it called? Something where they have the 10 Commandments in the front of the courthouse and whatnot. And the county where I grew up started this big movement, the Bible movement, something or another. Super evangelical Christian stuff. That was the town I grew up in. So somebody was sacrificing a goat in a cave. We were all certainly going to die by hellfire on Halloween night. It was like, it's hilarious to me now that, yeah, that happened.
So what I'm getting from it is you weren't allowed to dress up as anything scary for Halloween, but you could dress up as an inflatable dildo.
Well, that's what Blaine insinuated that it looked like.
Religious upbringing's quite fucked up in a way, isn't it?
It was a really cute little alien. That was what it was supposed to be, and my face was green. And yeah, I've got pictures, but yeah, I'm not going to share those with you ever. Fucker.
So, Drew, what was it like for you, dude?
Basically, probably similar to you. I didn't go trick-or-treating, though, because where I grew up, you'd probably get stabbed if you went trick-or-treating.
Oh, wow.
I lived on quite a posh street, so everyone there pretended they were out. So they didn't need to give out any candy. But anywhere
just black out the entire front of the house.
So we did just on occasion go and egg people's houses and shit like that when we were wee.
Oh, yeah.
When you think that's hilarious.
You do the toilet paper too?
Yeah. We also would put dog poo in bags and set bags on fire and ring doorbells.
Oh, yeah. See, I never did any of those things. I've never TP'd anybody's house or egged. Now, I thought the egging thing, I was like, those vicious little bastards. What are they doing? So you guys were shitheads in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were total shitheads. And or twats. There you go.
Yeah.
You're both
or cunt.
Twats.
Yeah.
No, you're both cunts already. Don't even have to try for that one. This is by nature of being. But let's see. I'm trying to think. Oh, did you carve jack-o'-lanterns, things like that?
Sometimes, not always. Usually we just kind of, I would go out with friends, we'd fuck about doing stupid stuff, probably drinking way underage, and then come home and watch a lot of scary movies.
See, I knew a lot of people that were able to do that. I was not one of those people.
I've always loved Halloween. I think the fall is my favorite time of year. To me, I feel like the summer is always the super hot chick that you never had a chance with. So me, fat body, enjoying the summertime, I do, but it's also if I was thin, this would be a lot more fun. Where the fall is I can throw on a flannel. I don't have to have any body issues whatsoever. The weather's cooler, so I'm not sweating. There's no swamp ass going on over the fall. Football comes back. And then Halloween, it's horror movies become the thing again. So if you were never into them, you ignore them all year long until this time of year. And then it's suddenly becomes cool again to watch slasher films, to watch cheesy 80 horror movies, that kind of stuff where it's hey, we've been here this whole time. We've been watching these movies for all year. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I just think it's a very cool time where it's it becomes everything creepy that isn't acceptable all year around suddenly becomes acceptable again, if only for a week or two.
Yeah, for me, I get the chance to put a mask on and go around and kill teenagers.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Absolutely. They could confuse you with several other people.
Yeah. And to be fair, getting to the age of being a teenager in Scotland is quite an achievement because the fucking mortality rate here is quite low. That's like a fucking grandparent.
the more Friday the 13th movies they make, I feel like Jason keeps getting taller and taller. So you might just fit into the next one. You might be able to step in as the next guy.
That'd be fun.
The last one, it was 09. Like, I was like a bodybuilder. Like, he was just leaking like HGH from his mask.
Yeah, I don't like in horror movies when the villain looks like he's on the juice, because it's like, when's he supposed to get the juice? How's he supposed to know how to fucking inject himself?
Right. Does he go to the gym? Is he naturally like that? Should I become evil just so I can be cut up like that? Like,
and it's like, why?
Same with the Rob Zombie Halloweens. Who's his? What was the former wrestler played?
Tyler Lane.
Yes, he played Sabretooth in the original X-Men too. He was Michael Myers in those movies.
It's like fucking 6'10" or something, isn't he?
Huge. Yeah. Just a menacing person.
But it's like, even fucking Leatherface, it's got like Arnold Schwarzenegger biceps now. You're like, what the fuck? He's
right, yeah, that new whatever they're doing backstory to Leatherface.
Is he not like supposed to be like half retarded or something? When's he lifting weights?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe that's what he does when he tries to design the skins of people he cuts off. Like, that's how he gets the mental juices flowing. Got the pump iron.
He just cuts off the skin of muscular people and wraps it around.
Yeah, that's it. And he stuffs it with like cotton balls. He looks like Hans and Franz from SNL. This is good. This looks good.
Fucking hell. Yeah, to me, Leatherface should just be a fat guy.
Yeah, that would be more acceptable, I feel like. Because then you can just immediately see, like, oh, he's been ostracized by society, so he hates everyone. Yeah. Not like the old abuse storyline that, like, seems to follow all these creatures and menacing people.
It's like
it'd be funny if it was just a fat guy who wanted revenge on everybody.
Yeah.
That would be pretty funny. Just like oversized overalls that like keeps falling down. Whatever.
Like, he's like the kid from the It movie that gets called Tits all the time. He grows up to be a psychopath.
Right, exactly. You made me do the truffle shuffle one too many times, motherfucker.
You know, I think it's different for everybody, to be honest with you, because Halloween here, we've got like mega stores for Halloween, like the Halloween store and things like that. So around here, it's actually pretty exciting as far as what it happens. I mean, we're a smaller community of 40 to 50,000 people or so. So when we get a time to go out and just kind of play, you know, it's the perfect time of year. You can play, do whatever you want, make believe, be whatever character you want to be, and just have fun.
Yeah, I think when we were growing up, I think it was probably a lot more naive on how dangerous things could be, like people hanging about or anything, whereas nowadays a lot of people are a bit scared to send their kids out trick-or-treating on their own. Where do you stand on that type of thing?
You know, I think it's one of those things where I enjoyed going with my kids so much because I would dress up with them and I would get to go out and kind of do the trick-or-treat thing. So that was awesome. At the same time, as they got older, it got to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, go ahead and go down the street, go around the block, do whatever. Because we knew our neighborhood well enough and had established ourselves enough in our neighborhood where they even knew the kids. So it wasn't necessarily a scary thing. Now, when they got into their early teens, my kids kind of started this tradition. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little bit, but they started this tradition and they wanted to kind of go out on their own to some different neighborhoods. That got a little bit, creepy, but for the most part, you know, kids are kids. I went out on my own. I wasn't going to take that away from them from their experience. So we just had to trust.
Yeah.
Trust the kids.
Yeah. I think when you grow up in a community that's small, like the town I grew up in, I think was about 65,000, something like that. There's slightly more trust involved with the people that live around you. Whereas if you grew up in a city like Glasgow, you wouldn't be sending your fucking kids out trick-or-treating because they wouldn't be coming home.
Yeah, if I would have been in a town of like 1 million people, there ain't no way in hell I would send my kids out on their own, not even around the block. True that.
Do you still dress up when you go out for trick or treating?
Well, we don't do a whole lot of trick or treating now since my daughters are older. So now they just go buy the candy. And I'll kind of get into the tradition that they actually started. So about the time my oldest daughter was 13, my youngest daughter was 12, they decided that they wanted to go out trick or treating, but they felt bad because my wife had told them the story about when she was a kid, she was in the Denver Children's Hospital with the disease. So my kids took it upon themselves and they said, hey, Dad, when we're done trick or treating, can we go and donate our candy to the kids at the Children's Hospital here in Rapid? I was like, well, shit, that's a great idea. Why not? So every year from the time they were 13 until even last year, they would go out trick or treating and they would always take along every bit of candy that they got, minus the ones that I stole out of the bag because I wanted to eat them. But every bit of candy that they got, they would take up to the hospital and they would go up to the children's ward and they'd empty they would go around and basically trick or treat for the kids, and hand out candy, kind of a reverse trick or treat thing. So that was kind of a cool thing that they started. That was a tradition that we still carry on. Now, like I said, last year was the first year that we just went and bought candy and we went and did it that way. But yes, we still dress up. We still go in there because the kids love to see you in your costume. They get all excited about it. And especially the way I do it is I go in there and like last year, I was like a big purple, that dummy that Jeff Dunham uses, Peanut.
Yeah.
Kind of like that type of a character. So I went in there. We did the children thing. And it was a lot of fun. It was something that we always get a kick out of. So we did that. And then, that's kind of our traditional thing. And yeah, when we go to Dead Weird, we're always dressed up. Well, at least I am. My wife, she's not really into Halloween all that much, but she has no problem being the designated driver, which is pretty awesome to have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one thing that I benefit from not being allowed to drive. I'm never the designated driver.
I do have to say one thing sucks though. One thing that really irritates me, when you go to Dead Weird, you're thinking trick or treat, you're thinking Halloween, you're getting into the mode, everything. You would think the damn bars would at least give you one shot for free. Just one. That's all I'm asking for. We say trick or treat, you give us a shot, we move along. That's how it works. But they don't. No, they don't. So I ended up spending way more money than I need to and have way more fun than I need to.
Yeah, you wouldn't get a single bar in Glasgow giving out free drinks. That's not going to fucking happen.
No, not around here either.
Well, I used to have traditions. Now I've kind of gotten old and boring. But I took the opportunity of being on your show to kind of get back to them just a little bit. As a kid, apart from just the trick-or-treating, which eventually evolved into something else, because at a certain point you get too old and you're like, I can't really fucking go to somebody's house when I'm fucking 6 foot tall and have facial hair. So yeah, I'm 13, but they're not going to be able to know the difference, right? So
yeah.
It's a little weird at that point, unless you have a small child with you, that's also trick-or-treating, and that you didn't kidnap. After I got to a certain age where I couldn't trick or treat anymore, my cousin and I, my cousin Mo, he's more like a brother to me. We grew up in the same house. So Mo's like a brother. We would create a haunted house in our house. Like we just literally just had like this loop you'd go through that went through down a hall into his room, through a closet which connected to another room, and then back out. And we would do ridiculous shit. Like there was a light bright. I don't know if you know what a light bright is in Scotland. A light bright was this thing where you'd put little colored pegs into a black board that had light in the back so you could make artwork with it. So we had a light bright at the end of the hallway at the beginning of the tour or the haunted house. And it just said die on it in all red lettering. And the best thing about this hall was it was creepy as fuck when the lights were low, because right at the end of the hall, the door was just a mirror. The whole thing was a mirror. So that you know, and then one of us would like lay down, pretending to be dead and scare the crap out of kids as they walked by or whatever. And then we'd walk into Mo's room where we had a light solely on his pet tarantula, because tarantulas are fucking scary. So I mean, we had an actual pet tarantula. Why not utilize it? And then you would walk through the closet where we would hang shit that would dangle down, and it'd be really dark then, and it would scare you. And then you'd walk. We had all kinds of stuff like that. And then the brilliant part about this was, since we couldn't trick or treat anymore, we charged kids candy to get in. So they would give us candy at the front door to go into our haunted house. And we did that for a few years, which was pretty cool. The kids loved it. You can't do that now.
Yeah.
You get sued and arrested really fast. Doesn't matter what your intentions are, but you can't do that now.
No, you'd end up in a register.
Yeah. And then we graduated, because at a certain point, yeah, you know, we got a little bit older and it was getting a little bit weird, because, you know, we were at that time when we were making the haunted houses, we were still kids, just too old to trick or treat. But now we were practically adults, or, you know, pretty much adults. And at the house, this is the house I grew up in. We graduated to a different thing, and what we would do is Mo would sit by the front door in makeup or a mask or something. He'd lay there like he was dead, or like he was a stuffed thing holding a bowl of candy. And the brilliance of this was that people would go up there, and sometimes they'd get scared when he'd jump or something, you know, just to creep him out a little bit. And he would, you know, like, oh, I got you, or whatever, here's some candy. And then as they were walking out, now our front yard was really large. It had a big driveway that could fit like 3 or 4 cars, and then off to the right, if you were coming in, or the left if you're going out, was this large area with grass and a hedge, a giant hedge of honeysuckle and roses and stuff. And it's very dark over there because it was backlit by the street light, because it was so big. And I would literally dress in all black, you know, black mask, black robe, black gloves, black everything. And I would just stand in the shadows over there. And after these people had just gotten, you know, like, oh, these guys were funny, they tried to do a thing with this kid, and I would just walk out. I didn't have to say anything. I would just walk out of the shadows, and they'd be like, "Oh fuck!" they were so fucking scared. And that rush that I got from scaring the fuck out of people became like my tradition. Like, I loved scaring the crap out of people for Halloween, and just something so simple. It didn't cost much of anything. You know, it was all household things that we just had. And you could, you know, because we were broke ass. I mean, I grew up fucking poor white trash. So, I mean, I was just, you know, it was funny because as kids, we played spy games a lot, snuck around and spied on our friends. And when we got a camcorder, we would videotape all of our, you know, family and everything, just like in the bushes or something weird. Yeah, again, can't do that now because I would get arrested. But back then when we were kids, it was fun, but I had all this training already. I felt like, you know, of being very stealthy. So just the fact that I put myself in completely, you know, invisible location, and yeah, I would scare the crap out of people. And I think that's became a thing. And before that, though, my costume of choice was always the Grim Reaper. Always.
Mine was basically, when I was away, and was whatever my mum could fucking make. So one year, she made me a fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't remember what the fuck the shell was. I think it was like a cardboard box or some shit with the shell. So it was like proper shitty costume.
So you were poor white trash too, is what you're saying. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Scottish. Yeah. I fucking love Halloween. I miss doing things for Halloween. We'll go to like the big events at like Knott's Berry Farm, which becomes Knott's Scary Farm, which is a local amusement park. And Dark Harbor is one of the best ones. It's at the Queen Mary here in Long Beach in Southern California. The Queen Mary, for those who don't know, is a large ship, a cruise ship that's been retired, and it's, you know, it was I think it was used in World War II for transport. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that shit. But it just sits there in port. Now it's a fucking hotel, and it's haunted as fuck. And on the inside, they have some sections that you're not allowed to use like the old pool and like old areas, what they turn into mazes for Halloween. And oh my fuck, that shit is amazing. So well done. This one maze we went through, where they had it was like it had like a creepy like haunted child's room vibe throughout the whole thing, and it walked through the old parts of the ship, and so it was very realistic. But they had a girl the same size, shape, and everything, dressed up as like a doll that would. They had like they must have had a dozen of these chicks that looked almost exactly the same, and they would be everywhere in all throughout the maze. So like it was following you wherever you went. It was creepy. I did creepy.
Just like the classics, you know, like It, Cujo, Pet Cemetery. Some of the stupid ones, like people as I got older, like People Under the Stairs and shit like that. Nothing crazy though. The scariest one though was It for me. Like it was too much when I was little, and I didn't realize how campy and cheesy it was until I got older. But that shit fucked me up for years. Candyman was alright, but like It was just brutal, man. Brutal.
Yeah, what scared me about it was he looked quite a bit like a child molester.
Yeah, right? He was a child molester. He was a creepy little clown thing. And then I read the book, and the book was just grotesque and just really, really terrible. We watched like Carrie too. Pretty much anything that Stephen King put his dick in, we got pregnant by in our brains. That's really what happened.
Yeah. So I've told this story a few times on the show, but fuck it, I'll do it again. As I said before, I've watched The Exorcist like when I was 4 years old, so I'm pretty much fucked up for life after some of the stuff I watched.
The Exorcist that didn't scare me, or like The Omen didn't scare me. That shit was just weird. But like, it seemed, I mean, The Exorcist seemed real too, but it seemed like something that was like, number one, there was a little weird ass clown lurking in the sewers, and we have sewers everywhere. And then it was like, he's preying on the things that you're like terrified of. So great, there's some fucking creepy thing that I'm terrified of telling me to come down here, and it's gonna bite me, and then I'm gonna be stuck in a sewer. It just, ugh. And Jeepers Creepers kind of got me too, but that was only because he took your eyes and shit, and that's weird.
Yeah, the thing that scared me about Jeepers Creepers was the brother and sister seemed a little too close.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. Well, that's rural shit, dude. What do you know, Alabama?
Like watching each other pee and stuff. You're like, what the fuck's that about?
What's going on here? And then it was just a weird fucking movie too. Like, I don't even know what Jeepers Creepers was technically. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like some sort of being that just gotcha. It wasn't even like, and then there's that big fear of getting stuck on a road and shit, and like that happens. You know, like it was the horror movies that like happened. I knew Freddy Krueger is not possible. And Jason was just weird because I went to summer camp a lot. But Jeepers Creepers is like, shit, if I get broken down, some crazy, like, half unicorn, half fucking demon is going to come get me, and I'm going to be stuck in a cellar for the rest of my life with no fucking eyes. Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I always thought of Jeepers Creepers as some guy read it and went, I like that book, but I'm not scared of clowns, so I'm going to make him this fucked up scarecrow guy. They both come out of hibernation every 20-odd years to eat people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kids that they go after. So, like, it's the same fucking thing.
It's just completely unnecessary. And then I think about, like, The House of a Thousand Corpses. You know, like, Rob Zombie put his hand in the horror film, and he did a great job. And those movies weren't as scary as they were. At first, I thought the movie was based on a true story, because that shit seemed like something that could happen, right? Like a fucking creepy little family with a fucking scary clown dad who just killed Rainn Wilson was terrifying. But it was just like a cool family movie, too, when you really look at, like, the big picture of it. It's just a good family, you know, who like to dabble in a little dismemberment, but they loved each other, so it was like a happy ending kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and as you said, it's a good family movie. You could put it on in an afternoon with your kids just after you've watched Mighty Ducks or something with them.
Exactly. That's what I would do. Yeah. I mean, and then Final Destination was fucked up too. That's a fucked up ass movie. God, that's a fucked up movie. And that one's probably the most plausible of all. Like, after every Final Destination movie, you find yourself looking around at everything like, this shit could kill me. You know? And, ugh.
And I quite wanted to kill that fucking guy that was for American Pie that was in that movie. So it's like just waiting for that fucker to die the whole way through it.
It's your turn. It's your turn. It's your turn. Skip a turn. Oh, and Saw, dude. We can't like forget about Saw. And
Yeah.
Saw 2 was the best one, I think. After that, it kind of just got real weird. But Saw's actually another really good one. When he just Jigsaw's pretty badass serial killer when it comes down to it. You know, like the intricate games he was playing, the perfect planning, the precision of it all. And then when he called Amanda out on it, and he was like, "You aren't doing this right." You know what I mean? Like just that real thought process behind it's fucking insane, man.
Yeah. There's been so many like fucked up kind of torture horror movies in the last decade. I like think that fucking Hostel kind of started it in a way, but Hostel's kind of like Eli Roth's version of porn. You think it's like he gets off on watching people getting dismembered and stuff because he can't. It's like he can't actually get an erection, so that's
So yeah,
sex
you gotta
for
cut
him.
off the leg. Yeah, dig a little hole in there, and you got yourself a fleshlight. You know. And then, have you ever seen a Serbian film? That is the most. That movie is fucking grotesque, dude.
Right,
And
yeah.
it's one of those ones that's like, it's I don't even know how to. I guess they call it erotica, but it's not erotic. And I accidentally happened to have my LimeWire open to the erotica section, and it accidentally downloaded, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh, no more. Never again. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Like, that was karma, dude. It was the worst.
So does that count as the most fucked up film you've seen then?
Yeah, that is definitely the most fucked up film I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't even know who would think to want to be a part of that. You know, like, you have to rape a baby, and that's just fucked. I mean, ugh.
My love for B movies and stuff is I love the entire Evil Dead series, and especially Army of Darkness. And Bruce Campbell, I've chose to follow him for so long afterwards that I just can't get enough. I mean, even down to, what was it, the Briscoe County Kid TV show that was out there probably, God, 7 to 8 years ago. And the funniest thing about it is that the original Evil Dead was actually filmed only about 40, maybe 45 minutes from where both of us grew up.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yep. So, Suze, I apologize for going on that.
No, not at all. So the Evil Dead's kind of squishy for me. I'm not like a zombie fan because it's squishy. I don't do squishy so much. My new favorite one though, and you've got to watch this, Blaine, if you haven't seen it yet. It's so fucking hilarious. Called Patchwork.
Oh,
Like
I think I just
quilt.
caught it. Yeah. It's just breaking up on my end some.
Sorry. I'm trying to maintain my internet and all that over here. But yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to give it away. There's a little gore, but it's not overly squishy, but it's so completely fucking ridiculous. It is fabulous. I laughed my ass off. It was really great. And then I've got another friend who's into some hardcore gore shit, but I can't hang with her. She makes fun of me.
As we all do. However,
Thank you.
Drew, can I add one more on there?
Yeah.
Dead Snow. Hands down, one of the best cheesy B horror flicks ever made. And I own both of them, and I'll definitely be watching them.
What else? Oh, for anybody who hasn't seen Raiders of the Lost Shark, I would highly recommend that. That was about an hour and 20 minutes of my life. I'd never get back. I would rather watch Plan 9 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That film is terrible, and I imagine the fact that we've talked about it so many times has probably tripled how many people have fucking seen it.
As well. I know. How many people have just turned unsubscribed from you because they're talking about that film. Holy shit. That's not even terrible. That's like worse than terrible.
We should do a commentary on that one.
Like, I'm assuming torture porn is like better filmed than what not Shark Exorcist, Raiders of the Lost Shark was. Like, it was just really bad. It's everything. Like, you watch Plan 9, right? 1959. Shark Exorcist, 2016. How far we've come as a society in making films, but yet pieces of shit like that still exist and still get pushed out to mass markets. And then idiots like us still watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's how many films get fucking made that are made for literally hundreds of thousands, and they have someone like fucking Kevin Sorbo or something on the cover, and he's in it for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Raiders of the Lost Shark might be the most disgusting thing I've seen this year because of the quality.
It's
literally the worst thing I've ever seen in every category of filmmaking.
Yeah, there is some movies that just defy logic on how they get made. There was one, what the fuck's it called? Zombievers or something? Like,
I've seen that title. Have not clicked. I can't bring myself to do it.
I was not drunk enough for that one.
Is there a drunk enough level though? Like
I think there's the sweet spot is probably half a bottle of whiskey.
Oh my god! Okay,
and you'll find anything funny.
That's true. Yeah, so you can laugh. Oh, I swear.
The only problem is if you go slightly over half a bottle of whiskey, the gore can just be remotely gory, and you're going to vomit at some point.
Right. There's a very fine line.
Very fine line, yeah.
There's I watched one of those sci-fi channel. I think it was called Troll or something like that. That was like The Village if The Village was a tremendous pile of dog shit, like more so than it was just awful animation and awful acting. But like aside from that, like the framing of shots and things like that weren't that bad. Which is where I come back to like the other films, just how awful that stuff is. Like the very basic stuff that still gets messed up.
Yeah, I watched.
Just a bad name for horror films like those.
I watched this really fucked up movie the other day, and it's like a really, really, well, every fucking martial arts movies is really bad when they're made in Hollywood. But this one had fucking Nicole Kidman in it. And
a martial arts film with Nicole Kidman?
Yeah. And it was just after Far and Away came out. So she was technically on the way to being a star. She was already married to like fucking Tom Cruise and was like an it girl. Right. And she made this film. And I can't remember what martial artist that's in it. I think it's someone like fucking Z-list, like Jeff Wincott or some shit like that. And you're watching it and you're like, you can see her soul dying. Yeah, like, this is why she married Tom Cruise.
Because she had to, because of the shows and films she did. She was like, well, I married Tom Cruise or I fade away into oblivion forever.
Got to marry the psychopath to have a career.
Yeah, exactly. You sell your soul to the devil or you can marry a Scientologist.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
I've always thought it'd be a great job would be just to be the guy standing behind him on every red carpet with my hand on his head like this.
Yeah. How tall are you? 4'8"? Great, come this way.
You're a proper little action star.
Who's your good boy?
Oh, films, man. Oh, gosh. Well, you know me. I'm an exorcist, or not an exorcist. I mean, I'm a Pinhead fan. I'm a Chatterer fan. So I am going to dive into the Hellraiser series. I do like The Exorcist. Don't get me wrong. It was kind of a cool movie or whatever, but it wasn't for me. The Exorcist wasn't like, oh, the horror thing. I mean, that's like, you're starting to talk religion and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Where The Exorcist, where Hellraiser was just complete fantasy realm and just, it was awesome. I loved it. It was great. And of course the Child's Play series. I love to watch a Child Play series. But those are kind of mainstream type stuff now. You know, Halloween, you gotta watch Michael Myers. I mean, there's just no way around that.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been every year I try to pick up a couple of new independent horror films, and I watched a show last night. I tell you what, Wesley Snipes is a shit actor. I'm just gonna put it out there just like that. In fact, the only movie that I ever saw Wesley Snipes, two movies actually, that I saw Wesley Snipes look good in was White Men Can't Jump, because Woody Harrelson's a shit actor, and Demolition Man because, well, Sylvester Stallone is a shit actor. So when you put shit actors together, Wesley Snipes actually kind of steps up above them. But watching Gallow Walkers last night, I realized just how horrible of an actor he was.
Yeah. That's one of the films he's made recently that's to pay off his tax money he has to pay off to the government. So
another one, because he's not paying it off with this one.
No.
Yeah.
He's going to be making movies till he's about 95, and they're all going to suck.
It'll be like the end of Brian Dennehy's career. You know, just gotta make another movie. Who the hell's this freaking Chris Farley guy? Oh shit, I better make a movie with that guy. That'll make money.
Yeah, you mentioned Child's Play. There's a new Chucky movie coming out for Halloween. Forget the name of it. I saw the trailer. It looks kind of shite, to be honest, but the last couple have been.
None of them are really good.
Yeah.
The first one I laughed my ass off during the first one. It's like there's no scary, and I come from that 80s era kids where the good guy doll kind of lived, you know, and there is absolutely no possible way I could look at that movie and not laugh my ass off. You know, at the end, that end scene where they're crawling up, she's trying to crawl up that damn slide or conveyor belt thing or whatever. It's just like, seriously, come on. This is shit. Or that, I mean, but he's got some great one-liners. I mean, they gave him the best one-liners in horror, even better than Freddy Krueger.
There's a couple that I always watch. One, Rocky Horror, because it's a tradition. I fucking love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know it barely counts as horror. I suppose it might count as horror for like religious people and some Republicans, maybe conservatives. That's a better word. Conservatives. That might be actual horror. But yeah, the Rocky Horror, because it's amazing. I grew up on that film, which should hopefully make more sense to you now that you've met me. So yeah, we're gonna have to watch the Rocky Horror, and then also my absolute favorite. It's like a psychological horror. I like movies that creep me out because jump scares are a dime a dozen, right? I mean, you get a jump scare, that's cool. It can be cheesy or whatever. Jump scares, I feel like those are for mazes when you're at a maze at some place. But when a film truly creeps you out, it makes you feel uneasy or just like it's just so good, you just like, wow, that's crazy. For me, that film is Session 9. Session 9, and one of the big reasons, apart from the fact that Peter Mullen is awesome in that film and in other films that I've seen him, I'm not even David Caruso could fuck that up in that film. But it's filmed in the Danvers fucking mental hospital, the old abandoned mental hospital, and just that alone makes it creepy as fuck. And the story is really good, and it has a great twist. And I mean, spoilers for the people at the end. When you hear Simon's voice, it's giving me chills right now just saying that. Like when you hear Simon's voice at the end of that, it always gives me chills. And then that fucking song they played during the credits is just amazing. Like I don't even like. It's like nobody talks about the credits, but like I'll choke you with the chain. Like what the fuck, man? Like what is this? Like I don't even know what's happening right now. But that film is, I don't know. I feel like it's a masterpiece. I don't think it gets enough credit. I feel like it's also very underappreciated. And you know, funny thing, I only found that film because an Aussie friend of mine recommended it. And so, like, I watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I must have watched it 100 times since then. Everybody I met, you have to watch this video. And then I would force them to watch it. And if they didn't like it, I would kick them to the curb. You know, like, no, sorry, you don't like this film. You're done. Yeah. Oh, another funny thing about that too. One of my wife's friends who was deathly afraid of horror movies. We forced her to watch it, and she had nightmares. We're horrible people.
Yeah. For me, I like to watch something like The Wicker Man at this time of year, not the fucking Nicolas Cage version.
Bees? No, you don't like bees?
Holy shit.
How are you feeling today? Bees.
Bees. But it's extra creepy now because it's like all the locations are about 2 hours from my house.
Oh,
so it's like so close that I could actually go and just, next year I'm planning on going down and shooting some shit down there for a special because it's the awesome. 45th anniversary of the film coming out. So,
wow. You said, what is that? That's coming this year or next year?
Next year.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to fly out and be on that.
We'll go around and we'll pretend
you
like
got the budget for it, right? You could fly me out there.
Yeah. We'll go down, we'll pretend like we think it's a fucking documentary. So we're like talking to the locals like it fucking really happened.
And then before you know it, we'll be in a corner like in fucking Blair Witch, and then no one will hear from us again.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, well, that didn't work out right.
It'll be like, finally, one of your videos actually made more than 150 views.
After you died.
Have you ever seen A Perfect Toast with David Hyde Pierce?
No.
Or The Perfect Toast? It's crazy. David Hyde Pierce plays like this weird next door neighbor, and he lets people in his house, and then he's just like some sort of fucking nut job who just kills them, and he gives you wine, and the wine makes you dizzy and shit. It's the most fucked up, like, and David Hyde Pierce isn't that guy, you know what I mean? Like, he looks like a nice, unsuspecting neighbor, and then he plays a film kind of like that. Ugh, that's gross. But yeah, Serbian film definitely takes the cake. Of all things. That film has fucked me up for years, dude. Years and years and years. And I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I don't think I have to watch it again, to be honest with you. Because I got it. You know, I get the premise of it.
Yeah, it was just the 3 times you watched it. That was all. Yeah.
That's the other reason why I have respect for Stallone, because he was like, at least in the first Expendables, he was like, I need this scene that's emotional to explain why we're going back into the shit when we escaped in the first act. And he's like, I need a real actor to do this scene. Hey, Mickey Rourke, are you available? And that was fresh off him doing The Wrestler, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Was that like 2010-ish?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Seems weird that we've ended on talking about the Expendables.
Well, you talked about scary films we've seen this year. Is it you who owns, or does Dave own the Expendables? Or is it you that owns?
I own all. Yeah, okay. I force my wife to go to see shit like this at the pictures because I've got to go see fucking Bridget Jones movies and shit like that. So it's like,
speaking of bloated faces, Renee Zellweger.
Yep.
I think I own the first one. I own the first Expendables. I was not a fan of the second one. I thought the third one was a little better.
Yeah, the Mel Gibson was at least interesting as a villain.
I don't even remember him being. He's actually had a comeback. Like as an actor and a director, like Hacksaw Ridge, he directed, but then in front of the camera, he's done a couple like classic Mel Gibson action films. Like Get the Gringo was pretty good. The Bloodfather was really good. I really enjoyed that one. That was funny and violent and just like an hour and a half of this perfect like Mel Gibson action film. Here you go. Wasn't trying to be anything.
He was always going to be able to have a comeback because he picked on Jewish people. He picked on the one minority that will fucking always forgive you.
And it made me not afraid of anything at that point. apart from the Michael Jackson poster in my bedroom that talked to me at night.
He talked to a lot of kids at night. It was mostly him saying, "You need to drink my Jesus juice." That'll probably get me sued. Fuck it.
Yeah. If you do, I want to know if that happened. That I was on the show that got you sued. I want to do more. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I've already been on a show where I got not sued, maybe, but got you in trouble at least. Trouble.